Hi, I am Palab. In this video, we will briefly discuss some applications of microeconomics in government and examine the methods of economics in the field of political economy. Before we dive into the application of economics in government or institutions, let's first define the field of political economy. This is the field of study in which we use microeconomic theory as analytical methods to study the role of government. Most government structures depends on the democratic processes to come up with public choices and policy. Voting is a central and important piece of this government structure. We begin with the Condorcet method of voting, which is an election method that elects the candidate which wins a majority of the vote in every head-to-head election against each of the other candidates. This is named after a famous French political scientist, Marquis de Condorcet. Next, the Condorcet paradox is about the failure of majority rule to produce transitive preferences. For example, if voters prefer candidate A over candidate B and prefer candidate B over candidate C, then transitivity implies candidate A is preferred to candidate C. However, the Condorcet paradox suggests candidate C may be preferred over candidate A, as the demographic outcomes do not always follow transitive preferences. With the discovery of Condorcet's paradox, many researchers aim to develop new and improved voting systems. Economist Kenneth Arrow developed a set of systems that allows researchers to mathematically understand the preferences of voting. Specifically, Arrow first defined a set of mathematical properties on unanimity, transitivity, independence of alternatives, and lack of dictatorship in a voting system. Arrow's Impossibility Theorem shows that there does not exist a voting system that satisfies all these properties. This is a powerful result because the theorem implies the mechanism for public choice will be flawed under any voting system for aggregating preferences. As a caveat, it is worth noting that Arrow's Impossibility Theorem assumes the preference of voters are orderings that satisfy completeness and transitivity. Since not all voting methods utilize an ordering system, Arrow's Impossibility Theorem may not apply universally. Following Arrow's work, a lot of research has been done on the relaxation of Arrow's assumptions as attempts to make preference aggregation a possibility. In other words, researchers are exploring a voting scheme that allows, to a certain degree, preference aggregation. Even with Arrow's Impossibility Theorem, voting by majority rule is still the most common scheme of public choice and policy for many modern societies. This leads to the natural question that, under the scheme of voting by majority, what is the determinant of outcome? As a famous extension to Hoteling's law, which states that rational producers will make their products as similar as possible in many markets. The median voter theorem states that a majority vote between two options will produce the outcome that is preferred by the median voter. The real world outcome of this idea is that major political parties like the Democrats and Republicans often shift their policy positions toward median voters in hopes of maximizing their chance of winning elections. This may explain why the purple states in the US presidential elections are important battlegrounds for politicians. Another implication is that, unfortunately, minority views are not important to either parties, according to the median voter theorem. Hopefully, the three examples covered here gave you a taste of how consumer behavior and preferences are important to interdisciplinary fields as well. If you want to explore these topics more in depth, come visit Chegg, where you can see additional topic videos and solved example problems, or you can ask one of Chegg's subject matter experts.